So this video is going to be kind of a mix of like spiritual, science, faith, which is just right up my alley. So the Father's been teaching me about many different things. One of them is perspective and how spiritual sight increases. Like many of us have been learning through the years, discernment and how to see in the spirit. And, you know, some people have certain spiritual gifts sooner, but like the general populace of the children of the Most High are growing in those abilities. And we're just able to see greater and greater depths of these things. And so, like, there's going to be two parts to this, basically. Well, I don't know, maybe multiple parts. I don't really know. I'm just kind of winging it. But please bear with me because this is so fascinating. What I'm realizing, though, is this has to do with the current structure of our neuropathways. So much shapes our neuropathways. Every interaction we have shapes your neuropathways. You have a neural connection for every person, place, thing that's in your life. A way that your brain processes what you experience. The language that you speak, that you grow up speaking, shapes your neuropathways, shapes the way your brain perceives reality, and in turn shapes your entire personality or entire being. The environment you grow up in, the country you grow up in, the family you have, your experiences, all of it shapes the way that your brain is wired, which then dictates your experience of reality. I'm going to try to quickly share an example of this. So there's an indigenous tribe somewhere in the world, and I'm not remembering where it is, but I remember seeing like a documentary on it, where this tribe has no technology, no nothing, but they are the best navigators in the world, that they are almost just like in tuned to where they are in the world, like the directions that they're going. And when you analyze their language, when they're talking about positioning, they don't talk about like left or right. Their language, the way they discuss, like when they're saying where they're going or whatever, their language is so specific. It's almost like they'll communicate like, we are something northwest of this location, and I don't even know how to explain it. I just remember being so fascinated by it. And it has basically written the neural pathways of this entire culture of people to just their bodies and their brains know exactly which direction they're facing whenever they are. Like just by standing, they can tell exactly where they're going. And it's just fascinating that the language that they speak literally structures how their brain is. They are aware of where they are at all times in their language, and so their brain just knows. We'll get a little bit more into language and neuropathways later. So this is something that the Most High was speaking to me, that He communicates with us based on the neuropathways that we have currently. For example, when I was deep in the Christian church and only knew Him as God and referred to His Son as Jesus, He communicated with me in those neural pathways because it's all I could perceive. My neural pathways weren't yet written to know Him as Yahuah or to know the Messiah as Yahusha. There is so much this is applicable to. This is like trauma healing, emotional intelligence. He does not communicate to us at a level that is too high for our current neural pathways to be able to perceive. Because again, our neural pathways is what dictates what our brains can even perceive. If your brain is not wired to perceive your triggers and your traumas, you live in a reality where they just don't even exist for you. And this is honestly part of raising your vibration, becoming higher dimensional beings. As we basically level up with the Most High, our neural pathways change and we are able to perceive more emotional intelligence, more spiritual awareness. We are able to understand our traumas and our triggers, and we're able to see more into people's lives. We are simply aware of more of the reality that already existed, but we were just unable to perceive it before. But now, as we grow, the Most High can communicate with us and show us things in those higher dimensional states of existence. And this is why staying in Scripture is so important. This is why you can read the Bible and apocryphal texts over and over and over again, and you get something different out of it every single time. The text is not changing. your neural pathways are changing. Your mind is being opened to greater and greater depths of what the text is saying, because it is living and active. As you grow in knowledge of Yahuah and wisdom, your neural pathways reshape and reform, and it gives you greater spiritual sight, greater insight into the text, greater insight into the world. You're able to see past the veil. This is why many of us have woken up out of Mystery Babylon, out of the deception of the Christian church, out of all of these things, because we are growing and changing our neural pathways, and it allows the Most High to communicate with us differently. Stay in your word. It is so unbelievably important to spiritual growth. It is meant to be read again and again and again and meditated on, and this is how it is written onto our hearts. So let's circle back to that language conversation, because this is beyond fascinating to me. And I absolutely believe and know that this is part of why many of us are being called to learn the Abarit, or Hebrew language. So if you understand that the English language is filled with hidden spells and just rules that don't make sense, it is honestly a dead language designed to disrupt our neural pathways with energy that disrupts our bodies. It is such a shallow language. But the Hebrew tongue, in comparison, is the language that the Most High, when he spoke, "Let there be light," it was the Hebrew language. It is the code that makes up all of reality. Everything comes from the Hebrew language. I'm going to give you an example of the depth of understanding that you can say something in the English language versus that same word in the Hebrew language. So to compare the depth of the Hebrew language versus the English language, just one example. Let's look at the word family, okay? In the English language, when we say family, we typically think of, the people that you were born into, okay? But this could also mean extended family. This could be, family, genus, species. That word can be used for so much. And your family can also be people that hate you and ridicule you and whatever. There's not really much of a spiritual meaning. You can't really tell what family really means just by the word family. But in Hebrew, it is mishpachah. And when you say mishpachah, it doesn't just mean blood relatives, okay? This is why when people on this app are greeting, Shalom Mishpachah, there's a reason for it. So Mishpachah carries a meaning deeper that is this is a group of people that I resonate with. We are in agreement, one mind, one accord. We love one another unconditionally. We are family on a deep soul bond spiritual level. Sister in English. You can have a blood sister. You can have a sister that's by blood that doesn't love you. You can have a sister that's not by blood that's your best friend. The word is not very deep. But in the Hebrew word akot, or akoti, which means my sister, it carries a meaning of you are my sister at a spiritual level. I am in agreement with you. We are connected in that way. We are of one mind and one accord. Akoti is my sister connected across space and time. It is so much deeper than just sister. Here's another way to look at the Hebrew language and the depth and the power that's in it. If we look at the Most High as the original coder, the original programmer, he programmed this entire reality with code, and that code is the Hebrew language. When we code things as human beings, we're using ones and zeros. That's it, ones and zeros, and we code little realities that way. But the Hebrew Aleph Bet has 22 characters in it. Do you understand how much more depth and power there is to what the Most High has created compared to what we can create with our little ones and zeros? Creation upon creation, reality upon reality, depth upon depth. It's infinite, never ending, manifesting in a spiral. And this is why the Hebrew language manifests with sacred geometry, and it's a mathematically perfect language because it's a code. And I'm running out of time here, but this is why as you learn the Hebrew language and learning the Hebrew understanding of things, this also reshapes your neural pathways. And like how the Hebrew language contains more depth, you begin to understand greater depth into the reality around you, your internal life, and your creator. Man, I'm already at 10 minutes, but I could talk about this forever, I feel like. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind takes on a whole new meaning. Shalom, and I love you all.